Altitude. Altitude.
The high price of one Israeli Iron Dome missile, but now it can be hacked by Hamas Sijeel's newest rocket counter-missile action is increasingly occurring in the Gaza Strip. Between Israel and Hamas forces, Israel also shows that they are a country with a capable defense system. This was evident from the Hamas missile strikes towards Israel, which did not cause significant damage. The Iron Dome, which is used to describe the air defense system, actually protects all of Israel, as does the dome. The Israeli military claims that so far the device has succeeded in disabling the rockets launched at their territory. The Iron Dome anti-missile defense system is undoubtedly the champion of the Israeli conflict in the Gaza Strip. Without these tools, the hundreds of missiles that Hamas fired at Israel from day to day would likely have caused many deaths and severe damage. However, Israel's claim to the impenetrable Iron Dome was eventually defied by Hamas efforts. Launching the Times of Israel, Tuesday, the 5th of November 2021. Hamas armed wing said that it used a new type of missile, Sijeel, to attack Israeli cities today. Hamas claims that the missile made it through Israel's Iron Dome defense system. For the first time, we are utilizing the tactic of firing Sijeel missiles at Ashkelon, which has high destructive power and overcame Iron Dome, Brigades Izz al-Din al-Qassam said in a statement. Hebrew media has reported that the temporary damage to Iron Dome and the large volume of rockets fired in the short span of time may have contributed to the ability to hit the city. Meanwhile, Channel 12 said the damage to the Iron Dome battery stationed at Ashkelon may have been the cause of its failure to intercept an incoming rocket earlier in the day, which resulted in the deaths of 2 Israelis in the city. The problem was later fixed and the battery is now fully operational. Hamas claims its new Sijeel missile that inflicts casualties has the ability to break through the Iron Dome defense system. 2 Israelis were killed when rockets hit their home in Ashkelon. The two are one woman in her 60s and the other in her 80s. Minutes later, the IDF reported that they had killed 2 top PIJ commanders responsible for rocket fire in Gaza. According to Israeli police, more than 90 Israelis were injured when nearly a dozen buildings in Ashdod and Ashkelon were hit by rockets. Launching the national interest, assessing the effectiveness of Iron Dome is not easy. For example, the software is supposed to calculate whether the rocket will land in populated areas or empty terrain. The interceptor will hit the former while ignoring the latter. So, if a Hamas rocket lands in Israel, is it because Iron Dome failed to intercept it, or does Iron Dome choose to ignore it because it poses no threat? Ted Postel, Professor Emeritus at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and a longtime critic of Israeli and American missile defenses, said the system was malfunctioning. In order to hit and destroy the warhead, not the missile body, Iron Dome interceptors must hit the rocket directly, according to Postel. Video showing the contrails of the interceptors making U-turns or diving into their targets shows that the interceptors did not destroy the warheads. Postel rejects the IDF's claim for an 86% interception rate. 5 to 10% more likely, he said. This isn't Iron Dome. It's an iron filter. What is Israel's Iron Dome? Israeli officials say the Iron Dome defense system has a success rate of about 90% in destroying enemy rockets in the air. Before reaching residential areas where Israeli residents are subjected to fire. The Iron Dome is part of the Israeli missile defense system that costs billions of dollars. As quoted by SerambiNews.com from the BBC Indonesia website, this system uses radar to track the rockets fired by the enemy, then launches interceptor missiles to destroy the enemy rockets in the air. The technology used by the Iron Dome can sort out enemy shots that are likely to hit the target and must be destroyed, as well as those that miss. So only rockets aimed at cities or densely populated areas are prioritized for interception, so that interceptor missiles can be used efficiently. Each of the interceptor missiles from the Iron Dome costs US $150,000, the Times of Israel daily said. The construction of the Iron Dome dates back to the 2006 conflict between Israel versus Hezbollah, a group based in southern Lebanon. Hezbollah then fired thousands of rockets, causing a lot of damage and killing dozens of Israelis. A year later, Israel announced a state-owned defense company, Rafael Advanced Defense Systems, to create a new missile defense shield. The project received funding of more than US $200 million, around Rp. 2.8 trillion, from the US. After years of research and development, the system was tested on the battlefield for the first time in 2011, when it knocked out a missile fired at the southern Israeli city of Beersheba. The Israeli medical team said that rockets fired from Gaza have so far killed 7 people, including 2 children. Meanwhile, the death toll from a series of Israeli airstrikes has reached 83. 17 of whom are children, the Palestinian Health Authority said. There is no doubt that the Iron Dome protected many Israelis from a series of attacks that could result in many deaths. But that doesn't mean the system is perfect. The BBC's foreign analyst, Jonathan Marcus, reports that the defense unit in Ashkelon city appears to be malfunctioning due to technical disturbances during the latest armed conflict between Israel and Palestinian groups in Gaza. Critics have questioned whether the Iron Dome's 90% success rate in repelling rocket rains from Gaza can be sustained if Israel faces a different opponent next time. Yonah Jeremy Bob, intelligence editor of the Jerusalem Post, said Hezbollah had the capacity to launch more rockets in less time, and this could overwhelm the Iron Dome to block the missile fire. Israelis should be grateful for the role of the Iron Dome in saving their lives. However, Yoav Fromer, a political expert from Tel Aviv University, stated that the dependence of the defense system is holding back the Israeli government from seeking a long-term political solution to the conflict. Ironically, a successful product like the Iron Dome demonstrates the failure of foreign policy, which immediately sparks an increase in violence, Fromer told the BBC. For years we are still caught in the same circle in this endless violence.